Hi everybody, welcome very much. Today we are going to talk about Venus in Taurus for 2025. Thank you for being here. Your support is greatly appreciated. Remember to book readings and consultations with me using the email or the Instagram down below. Let's get started without any further ado. What is Venus? What is Taurus? And what those energies mean together? Venus represents our ability to relate, commit, enjoy, love, appreciate, see the beauty, see the value in something. Taurus is fixed earth, so it represents our ability to obtain and maintain in a fixed, consistent, stubborn or stuck way, what? Privacy, structure, profit, validation, support, integrity, your core set of values, and a way to be profitable but still private, a way to be efficient but still respecting your values, and the way that is in your own rhythm. Because there is the myth that all Tauruses are slow. It's not true. They just like to stay to their rhythm, and sometimes most people have highs and lows when it comes to their rhythm. So when they're going very speedy, and the Taurus is consistent with their rhythm, the Taurus looks slow. But when they going slow, the Taurus looks like normal because they're going into their own rhythm. So Venus in Taurus means that we are relating, loving, committing, compromising, enjoying, and seeing the value in fixed or stubborn ways to obtain and maintain value, responsibility, structure, privacy, safety, and security in an efficient, beautiful, pleasurable, and sophisticated way. So, some of the positives here is it will be easier to relate your core set of values, your sophistication, and your own value. It will be easier for others to relate their value and their core set of values. So, it will be easier to fulfill ourselves and our connections, and it will be easier to not commit to the wrong things. It will be easier to not overcommit and to not be scammed spiritually and energetically. But at the same time, you might miss some opportunities, which is good. You don't need to get all the opportunities, but you might miss some opportunities because uh, it's fixed energy. So you might lack the innovation, you might lack the vision to realize that something could be a good opportunity to relate or enjoy within your reality, within your structure, or within your support systems. But like I said, missing opportunities is not necessarily bad. It's better to focus, for an example, on your values, on your own value of what other it's also good to focus on what others value when they are supporting you or contributing to your value, to your sophistication, or to your fixed and consistent way to obtain routine, pattern, efficiency, and sophistication, but on a pleasurable way. One negative aspect of Venus in Taurus is that you might be you or the people, places, and things that you are relating with, because Venus is exalted in Pisces, but it rules Taurus and Libra. So it doesn't have a lot of mutability, but it is a bit mutable because of the single fact of the relationship, the relatability, sharing information. And sharing information is not just expressing or receiving, it's both. So sometimes when you're sharing something, not sometimes, every time, when you're just expressing, you still receive the vibe of the person, their body language, and their sounds like ah, or no sound at all. But with Venus, it goes a bit further, right? Because Venus rules Taurus and Libra, so they both do something real, not just vibes, not just body language. Sometimes the absence of reaction from a Taurus, the silence from a Taurus is way more real than a vibe, than a look. You know what I'm saying? But Venus in Taurus can make you or others too fixed or stubborn in relating insecurities, survivability issues, or just lack of value. So most people, not most people, but a lot of people, they just live life without focusing in their core set of values, in their personal preferences, personal insecurities, or personal interests. So, most times when they gossip, when they relate, when they commit, there is really no value. So, they get used to entertainment and to feel a part of something. They get used by to relate something on the surface level, something that is like, oh, things are so pricey right now, or the weather is going to be really bad, or I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to make it, or I'm not sure how the economy will go, like things like that. So if you or somebody is on the negative side of Taurus, which is easier, it's harder to be on the negative side of Libra. And even the negative side of Libra sometimes looks positive, all pinky and sugarcoaty. Taurus, because it's the internal, feminine, recipient side of Venus, it's easier to be negative. But the negative side of Taurus can be way more profitable than the negative side of Libra, for an example. That's for another video. So you or others might be too focused and consistent in relating negative things, or away from all possibility things, or away from bountifulness things, because you might have experienced yourself, or you might seen others relate and find support, profit, and esoteric friends when committing or relating in a Taurus way. But instead of fixing their reality, instead of fixing their structure and their value in something bountiful and that can grow and support themselves, they're going to fix on the lack of things. And sometimes it's not even the lack. Like I've known a lot of people that they have things, they have structure, they have security, but they still be like, oh, my situation is not good. So they're not grateful. So Venus in Taurus, if you or somebody else is still on that negative side, can be also relating in very ungrateful ways, but feeling like that makes sense, feeling progress, feeling connection and validation. Another positive side of Venus in Taurus is it will be easier for others to build upon your own value and vice versa. Especially if the way that you are realistic, profitable, and sophisticated is in the same vibe, is in the same area as those other people, it will be easier for them to come in with their own fixed values and fixed ways to relate about reality and profit and add on to yours without necessarily bringing it together or making all those things together one thing, because it's still fixed, it's still separated, it still has a solid shape and form. But in general, Venus in Taurus is a good alignment. Of course, Venus likes to be in Taurus. Venus is the ruler of Taurus, but it's the internal side. So here, people can get a bit too focused in receiving relatability, pleasure, or support, and they might not be ready or naturally or intentionally giving support. And also, it's easier to be insecure or feel the lack of value, especially if you're not living your life by your core set of values. If you're not chasing a better situation based on your preference, based on your internal realm, because remember, Taurus, the moon is exalted in Taurus. So every time an alignment is in Taurus, there is an extra need to chase, manifest, materialize, obtain, and maintain value and profit. But remember, the moon is exalted. So when a lot of people say, oh, Taurus are so materialistic and do not, they only care about money. That's not true, because actually Taurus care more about emotional value, emotional profit, support profit, being supported, being with somebody, building something together. You know what I'm saying? So Venus in Taurus will really help those things happen, or you feel more supported, or if you are already fulfilled yourself, it will be easier to relate in a supportive and consistent way that brings value and profit to others as well. Or if you already have something built for yourself, others will feel attracted to you to build with you or to use you as an example. And every time you help a spirit directly or just by an example, that spirit will remember you. And every time they succeed, you receive a little bit of that energy as well, because they still come to your space sometimes because they remember the time you helped them. You know what I'm saying? So with Venus in Taurus, you can expect that to happen in a more realistic, more slow way. But once that thing happens, you're gonna feel it way more. And you might not feel it or you might not be aware of it because Taurus is way more subconscious than we think. Remember, the opposing side of Taurus is Scorpio, the deepest of the waters. And Taurus brings realism, structure, value, and profit to those deep waters. So many times, a lot of people that are Taurus or they have Taurus alignments or other people that are into astrology, they kind of misunderstand Taurus because they just think about the external side. They just think about the materialism. They just think about the structure that you can obtain physically. But Taurus are also about emotional progress. You know, Taurus know how to balance, keyword balance, Libra, um, Venus. Yeah, and that's also a good positive aspect of this alignment of Venus in Taurus, which is balancing your desires and your feelings with your structure, with your validation and your profit in a inconsistent or fixed way. And in general, it's good to feel valuable. It's good to build value. It's good to share, relate, and commit. And that's very important actually, because a lot of people commit without value, like I said earlier. That's why more and more we see more divorces and stuff like that, because people just they didn't have the relationship. Not even speaking about a spiritual ship, they were in a situationship. And with Venus in Taurus right now, if you are on the right side of the energy, it will be harder to commit into a situationship. You'll want a relationship. And what's the difference between a relationship and a situationship? The situationship is about the situation, money, kids, bills, houses, cars. The relationship, it's about you guys relate very well and a lot. A spiritual ship is all of that together, where you both, the partners, have a common spiritual goal or a common spiritual path or a common spiritual way to vibe, and you look to above everything else in a moderate way, of course, your spiritual principles, your spiritual values, your spiritual progress. So, if two people are together in a spiritual ship, they will be able to go way easier through hardship while keeping themselves up, while keeping the imagination going, while keeping the vision alive, and sometimes sacrificing something will feel very good because they know they're focusing that energy, time, and relation into a better position, into a better situation. So, struggling a little bit because you could be doing what everybody else is doing, but we're not going to do that. We're going to be fixed and consistent in our progress, in our stability, in our profit, validation, and support, but in your own way, in our own time. A spiritual sheep will go through that way quicker, way faster, and they will make pleasure. They will make fun. They will make validation out of that by themselves. So the situation ship will end because the money is lacking, because the structure is lacking, because they never was about building that structure. They were never about relating their values or their progress or their strength. Because Venus in Taurus is also strength in relationships or through relationships, not just relating your values, but valuing just the opportunity to relate. But keep in mind that you can also feel so internal and so insecure that you close yourself from relating and receiving. And you might even go so deep within yourself that you start to become scorpionic and you stop seeing value. You stop feeling valued. You stop giving support and receiving support because you're too stuck in your own vision. And also with Venus in Taurus, it can be a bit easier for reality to limit you, to make you feel insecure, to make you feel not valuable. So in the first place, you must be the one to be fixed in your own and stubborn. Be stubborn in your own core set of values, in your own validation, in your own profit, and then the world can take you down. The world cannot make you feel unvaluable because you know and you practice your values to yourself and through your relationships as well. So today, I picked a tarot card for today's energy. We have Sun in Gemini, Moon in Capricorn, and Venus in Taurus. So that means that we are acting, expressing, and envisioning in light, logical, and cold ways. So when it comes to Venus in Taurus, it's a fatal attraction. So the Sun in Gemini is bringing lightness, more communication, more openness, a deeper level of sharingness, when it comes to thinking, communicating, and analyzing. So with Sun in Gemini, it's easier to communicate, it's easier to express and receive expressions from others about values, profit, structure, and relationships if they come in a logical or cold way. And then we have the Moon in Capricorn trining Venus in Taurus. So a gift to create new feelings, new emotions, and new internal limits and boundaries that potentially will become external one day about how you and others are relating and committing when it comes to value, structure, and progress in your realistic, sophisticated, pleasurable, beautiful, and profitable way. And the tarot card for today's energy is the 10 of Wands. And oh, I totally felt that today. There is a lot of fire, a lot of passion, a lot of feelings, a lot of frustration, a lot of motivation, a lot of spiritual information and spiritual travels that we have to decipher. And the 10 usually, not usually, the 10 comes out of the 9, and 9 symbolizes elevation, the best you could have done in a certain space. So the 10 is like the one starts like this and then it goes down. So you accumulated so much that you got a bit heavy, and now you must condensate, you must fixate to make the best out of that energy to like basically process that fuel so it can work again for the next travel. And then you make a 2 where you go up a little bit first and then you go a bit down to be more aware of the space that you are in. But the 10 basically represents a lot, uh, so much of an accumulation that you can feel heavy, you can feel tired, you can feel drained, you can feel distracted, and you're going to be feeling that, but you can't make sense out of it because it's so much energy that your spirit must spend a long time in it to make sense out of it. But with great responsibility, with great pressure, comes great power. So you can be super creative today, you can be super entertaining, you can be super engaging, or you can be super frustrated, super um, insecure, super angry, or just feel overweighted by the fire, by the creativity. And mostly when it comes to relationships or relating your values and your profitability and security systems and support systems, because Venus is in Taurus. So that and the Moon in Capricorn brings a little bit of structure and patience and logic, plus the Sun in Gemini, of course. But remember that Mars is exalted in Capricorn and Taurus are opposing Scorpio. And that means that they sometimes struggle or get fixed into those passions as well, but they try to make it real. So today, there is a lot of energy, passion, or frustration. Make sure to bring that into reality in a new, mutable, and profitable and sophisticated way. And then I also picked a tarot card for Venus in Taurus, and there we had the Ace of Pentacles. So there is a unique situation, a unique relation, unique value, unique limit, a unique boundary, a unique idea, a unique networking or association that can make you valuable, that can make you unique, or that can elevate your financial situation, your physical circumstance, and your responsibilities. But it's unique and new, so you have to take it and then relate it to the world, make it a part of the world for some time. It might not be profitable, it might not bring you structure and support, but once it does, because it's new and unique and it came from you, it will be way better than the normal or most common ways to have profit and stability because it's new, innovative, and coming from your space. And what's the best way to use this unique situation, this unique energy when it comes to reality, structure, limits, boundaries, responsibility, and profit? Is the crystal yellow dragon. So be very clear with your expressions, actions, and visions. Act from your personal interest, act from your spirit, from your individuality, and from your uniqueness. Because you might see the gift, you might see the treasure, and you might start manipulating, tricking others, tricking yourself, placing traps for others, sending them in the wrong way, making them feel insecure, making them feel invaluable so you get the treasure. Bro, everybody has the treasure. That's why the best way to be right now is to express your core in a clear, light, and unique way so you don't get stuck in reality, in materialism, and in profit where you think others can't have this, others can't do this. No, everybody has access to this energy. It's an ace, it's a unique thing. Everybody has access to it. So if you do this, you'll see this from yourself way easier, and then you can also see the value from others, and you can feel inspired, and you can find the best co-workers, spiritually speaking. You can find you can find the best members for your teamwork, doing the dream work in a realistic, profitable, and valuable way. Also sophisticated and beautiful, but you must express yourself in your unique, clear way, in your own valuable and personal way, because then your expression will reflect in your surroundings. Then you can identify people that vibe in that same tone. So if you don't do this, you'll never find them. And let's see not today's energies, let's see how Venus is aligning with the rest of the natal chart. Like I said earlier, Sun in Gemini, Venus in Taurus, Sun is fatal attracting Venus in Taurus. So we are bringing more lightness, more coldness, more logicality in a mutable or scattered way to our fixed and stubborn ways to relate about structure, privacy, sophistication, and value. Then we have Mercury in Cancer, sextiling Venus in Taurus, so an opportunity to create new emotional and spiritual communications and thoughts to help you materialize, support, or maintain a relationship or a value that is realistic, practical, profitable, sophisticated, and also fixed or stubborn. Then we have Mars in Leo squaring Venus in Taurus, learning how to relate in a more beautiful, sophisticated, private, secure, and structured way. Our passions, motivation, anger, frustration, and deep desires that we want to see and feel validated, celebrated, being unique and individual, and also being others talking about it and others paying attention to it. We want to see that happen, but first we need to learn how to relate those in a more sophisticated, realistic, and cute way, quite literally. Then we have Venus in Taurus, sextiling Jupiter in Cancer, so an opportunity to expand and gain new wisdom and knowledge about relating and committing your values, your structure, and your privacy in a more relatable, sophisticated, and profitable way. If you can create new spiritual purposes, new emotions and feelings, new spiritual connections, and new dreams and illusions that allow you and others to see the value, the care, and the purpose about you, to yourself, to your values, and to your surroundings. Venus in Taurus, fatal attracting Saturn in Aries, bringing more relatability and more connections, but in a structured, realistic, private, and sometimes insecure way to new feelings, actions, expressions, and recklessness about structure, networking, and association. Then also Venus in Taurus conjuncting Uranus, bringing change or receiving change, uniqueness, innovation, freshness, rebelliousness, or opposition to our consistent way and practical way to obtain or maintain support, profit, validation, privacy, and security. Venus in Taurus also fatal attracting Neptune in Aries, so incorporating grand new feelings, grand new passions and frustrations that are coming from a big subconscious realm that a lot of spirits share. So we are taking those things and incorporating them into how we practically, sophisticatedly, and pleasurably relate and commit about structure, profit, validation, and support. And lastly, but not least, Venus in Taurus squaring Pluto in Aquarius, learning how to relate, commit, and value in a realistic, structured, private, sophisticated, and valuable way about a new world where everybody will be the leader or a part of a community that is more fixed, more consistent, more light, more unique, more individual, but still realistic about structure and about moving together into a more progressive world. That's everything for today. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you now learn how to relate in the best consistent and practical way. Hope you learn when to be stubborn and when to be more like a hermit and private when it's about relating and committing your values, your profit, your structure, and your systems. Thank you for watching. Don't be too insecure, but protect yourself when it's about relating. I wish you the best thoughts, ideas, feelings, and emotions, and a whole bunch of individuality, creativity, and responsibility as well. Believe in yourself and in all possibilities, and the best way to be is to be your goddamn self. Thank you very much for watching. I see you next time.